Hello, my name is Andrew Wareham from the Centre for Hearth Tax Research. The purpose of this paper is to show how Hearth Tax Digital engages with the digital transformation in history, the latest technical developments in digital humanities and citizen science. In this image, you can see a property with two hearths. Hearths became the basis for taxation in the late 17th century. The more hearths you had, the more you had to pay in tax. Historians have been fascinated by the hearth tax returns because they provide a wealth of detail on social history. They record the names of householders who lived in houses in the late 17th century. Because we know the number of hearths, we're also able to work out the type of buildings in which people lived. And the returns also recorded whether the tax was paid. If the tax was not paid, we sometimes get explanations for why not. These returns are such a useful source because, unlike many tax surveys, they record the names of both the householders which paid the tax and, crucially, the householders which were exempt from the tax. As a result, the records provide a reasonably clear coverage of the overwhelming majority of families living in households as places of leisure and work in pre-industrial Britain. Traditional scholarship approached the hearth tax by being immersed in the archives. Between 1905 and 2017, 27 traditional hard copy editions were produced for a series of English and Welsh counties, giving coverage for over half of England. The map on the left shows the location of these counties, each with its own distinctive tradition, and the table to its right provides you with information on the editions published in the joint British Academy and British Record Society Hearth Tax series over the last 2.5 decades. In the last 2 decades, a debate has been gathering which involves both historians and librarians in how the digital humanities should be used to bring about the digital transformation of historical study. This argument has been taken up most recently in relation to early modern British history by Tim Hitchcock and Andrew Prescott. Despite the differences between them, they shared some common positions, and by the end of the debate, a number of key points were clear. First, digitization of primary sources was held by a small group of research libraries in England and the United States. Second, if historians were to use the digital archive effectively, the data needed to be clearly linked to primary source origins so that historians could signal limitations. But as an important rider, if historians accessed these primary sources via digital resources, they should signal that in their publications. Fourth, it was vital for an infrastructure to be in place to secure the ongoing use of these digital resources. And fifth, historians needed to take far more account of resources available on genealogy websites and be aware of the subscription-based barriers. At the beginning of the 20th century, Scotland's Places made available all of the hearth tax records for Scotland. These in total perhaps amount to that of an average English county, and crucially brought records from Scotland into the public domain. The nature of the achievements in making these records freely accessible and making users aware that there were digital images was a major step forward. Scotland's Places was compiled at a time when genealogists were seen to be the primary users. It's very suitable for their purposes, but the data is not easily manipulated using Excel. It's point 3, which I want to highlight. Hearth Tax Digital provides a search function which enables users to really manipulate the data. And you can see here, I've set out in this slide in a series of 5 points how both Hearth Tax Digital and Scotland's Places addresses all of the points raised in the Confronting the Digital debate. But as I say, it's point 3 I'm really interested in. It allows you to search by personal name, place name, status descriptors, and other textual searches. These return a series of hits which are then saved to the data basket and can be saved for further analysis offline. A further feature is that because the assessments and returns in these records sections are presented in their original order, complete with the contemporary rubrics, users can scan their eyes down the text in exactly the same way as if they were working in the archive, opening up a tax book or a roll. They can click the entries which are of particular interest to them and save these to the data basket. This means that whatever research question it is that they're posing, they can dig around the source and highlight the specific entries to save to Excel for analysis and record linkage. In the Confronting the Digital debate, Hitchcock and Prescott were not concerned with citizen science, but Hearth Tax Digital opens the door to this. And Aaron will take this up later in the presentation. Now, though, I want to hand over to Jakob to review the technical side.
Hello, I am Jakob Sonnberger from the Institute Center for Information Modeling at the University of Graz. And I want to provide a short insight into the data modeling and the technical implementation of Hearth Tax Digital. Our institute has developed an online repository for DH projects called GAMS, currently hosting more than 60 projects, reaching from classic digital scholarly editions over digital representations of account books to museal collections. GAMS is an acronym for Geisteswissenschaftliches Asset Management System, which means Asset Management System for Humanities. It's a fully OIES compliant repository both for long-term archiving and publication of DH resources, based on the open source project Fedora. Data is mainly organized in XML and applied to content models such as TI, Lido, RDF, or METS, GML for geographical information, R, and etc. Our technology stack features Apache Cocoon, Blazecraft Triple Store, Apache Lucene and Apache Solr for full text search, PostgreSQL, and Laris IIIF image server for visualization of facsimile, for example. We are certified according to the criteria of the Data Seal of Approval as a trusted repository. We hold the Core Trust Seal, and we are an official Clarin B Center. Here is another overview over the technology stack of GAMS. I'll just leave it a second here for you to watch. I guess it's self-explaining. Right, about the workflow for Hearth Tax Digital. We're dealing basically with two types of resources. The first one is text documents, which were basically provided by the people who made the hard copy volumes. And these are transferred into Hearth Tax XML, which is a special scheme for TI. The second one is database records, which are in no specific order. And these are transferred directly into RDF XML. When ingesting those two data types, they land in a repository as TI objects or ontology objects for the pure RDF data. Both of the resources deliver triples to a triple store, where we can later make Sparkle queries on it to mega searches. Right, here is our specific TI customization for Hearth Tax Digital. It's a very self-explaining and easy set of markers. So you basically have got information about the place where the tax was paid, about the person itself, and about if it was chargeable or not, and how many houses he had to pay for. And this is, while ingesting the object, then transformed into pure TI P5OR. Right, here is how an RDF entry of a taxation looks like. So basically, you've got the same information. You've got recorded by the entry in the auth row, in the text. You've got the name, you've got the location, and whether you had to pay or not. Right, here's the workflow, how our interface interacts with our system. So basically, via the Triplet store, you can perform requests, searches, in form of Sparkle queries and get a result XML, which is displayed then in HTML. You can also just click on certain text records. If they are modeled in TI, you get a HTML representation of the object in the browser. If they are in RDF, we also managed to do an HTML representation that basically looks like transcribed ones. So here is how a Hearth text record then looks like in HTML. Right. And here is how the digital actually looks in your browser. On the left side, you've got the hierarchy of the geographic entities. And you've got the specific entries with the Hearth they have to pay for or not. Another approach we've got is Mike Shan from the University of Glasgow provided some historic parish boundaries. And we accumulated them with our RDF data and are able now to make joint Sparkle requests on both the geographic data and the accumulated halves in certain regions and display them via leaflet. For now, we've got East Riding running and we're working on other countries as well. Okay, that was it from me, and I will hand over to Aaron and his citizen science approach on Hearth text. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Aaron Columbus from the Centre for Hearth Text Research. I'm going to speak with you about two projects in which we've used Hearth Text Digital to nurture confidence among two non-academic groups. Fostering confidence in using historical records depends both upon unimpeded access to Hearth Text Digital and providing historians without professional or degree level training with the means to work in teams to undertake research to advanced and proficient levels. Our focus has been upon outreach with two non-academic user groups, senior secondary school students and adults with professional or with no professional or degree training. Firstly, the schools project. The work with schools was undertaken to connect with secondary schools and help sixth form students enhance their understanding and confidence with primary sources. The significance of college students' engagement with the Hearth text is that it both broadens their skills and their ability to pose and answer complex questions. These are valuable life skills. Hearth Text Digital is of particular value because it enables college students to make parallels with modern day life, as college students can engage with the idea of a text that was based upon fireplaces and chimneys almost immediately. This provides a way to engage their interest and skills in connecting primary evidence to historical questions, thereby enhancing their confidence. This was achieved via a series of workshops in which students engage with the historical context of the Hearth text while working with this unique and important primary source. Over the course of the sessions, 36 students in 3 colleges in and around London gained confidence in handling and analysing the Hearth text returns and exemption certificates on Hearth Text Digital. Students were asked to share their experience with the project on the Hearth text blog. One student commented that before the workshops, I had never thought so much detail could be learned from documents and found it very insightful, and that it has furthered my interest in pursuing and studying history later on at university. The sessions also enabled students to make insightful and sophisticated connections between the past and the present, with one student commenting that the Hearth text is evidence of great poverty juxtaposed in agonizing proximity with great affluence and wealth, which has in many ways become a story for the ages. The students' teachers observed similar benefits. This newly inspired confidence can also be demonstrated by responses to evaluations completed by students, whereby 94% of students indicated that their confidence working with historical records like the Hearth text had increased. In a pre-workshop survey, students rated their comfort with analysing historical documents as 6.7 as an overall average. Post-workshop, students rated their comfort with documents as 8. Both teachers and students attest to the success of Hearth Text Digital in that regard. The second project relates to work with amateur historians. Hearth Text Digital demonstrates the flexibility and new possibilities of the Hearth Text as means of training amateur historians to produce high-quality research and to take a real pleasure from working with the intriguing questions which it raises as a source, together with the public and community-based recognition which stems from completing research and publication work on the restoration Hearth Text. Above all, group project work promotes lifelong learning, helps to mitigate the effects of social isolation, and develop the digital skills needed to engage with the new post-COVID-19 world. Our partner for this work has been the University of the Third Age, or the U3A, which mainly draws its membership from people in retirement. The research undertaken for Hearth Text Digital enabled the U3A members to organise a shared learning project on the lost histories of the people of late 17th century England. Training workshops were held in Birmingham and London, with classes to provide the U3A historians with the crucial research skills they needed to embark on their projects. 18 members were divided into 3 groups in North London, South East London, and Warwickshire. Centre for Hearth Text research staff attended some of the monthly meetings in 2018 and 2019 to provide support and advice, but the groups designed the research program and methods themselves. The resulting research published on the Hearth Text blog used the skills taught in the sessions to produce excellent, high-quality research that described many colourful and fascinating stories on London lives and communities in Restoration England. Thus, 8 of the 13 posts that were published in 2019 on the Hearth Text blog were derived from the U3A shared learning projects, with nearly 4,500 visitors. The site has been used extensively to share learning and knowledge around the Hearth Text and the social history of late 17th century England. The quality of this work is demonstrated not just by the visitor figures, but also through one participant's blog piece on the bricklayer Thomas Elwood, which was republished by the Worshipful Company of Tilers and Bricklayers in October 2019 in their newsletter. This paper has demonstrated that Hearth Text Digital is a powerful resource for both professional and amateur historians, different age groups and different interests. Please do visit Hearth Text Digital to understand the resource and use the resource. Thank you. We look forward to your questions in the Q&A.